Joshua 11 to 24. I hope you're not nervous about the amount of reading for today. I think you'll notice when you start reading it how repetitive this text is, so that's why I assign it in one reading. What we have today is three things. Israel goes north and conquers the northern half of Israel. Then we have like a verbal map drawn out of the land of where the tribes will occupy. And then we have the final words of Joshua before he dies. Well, anyway, let's go back, and chapter 11 is where Joshua, having come across the Jordan and conquering the south, again from Jerusalem on south, that area is now occupied, or at least subjugated. He turns his attention north to the main city of the north, which is Hazor. King Jabin had a coalition of cities up there. It's a huge city by ancient standards, 200 acres. And the text seems to imply in chapter 11 that Joshua surprised them. And so in almost without explanation, just a couple of verses, the text says that Joshua defeated the city of Hazor and burned it completely. So the only cities that Joshua burns are Jericho, Ai, and Hazor, which is important because if you're an archaeologist today looking for evidence of this conquest of the entire area of Israel, you're not going to find any. Based on the biblical text, you're going to see Israel settling into these cities and really continuing the same social patterns probably that these cities already had set up. After burning Hazor, Joshua comes south and they settle into Shiloh, where the tabernacle is then erected. And again, this is the portable house of God. It will be there for some 300 years until David moves it. And then the tribes are allocated their territory. Now again, we had heard earlier that the land that Israel was to possess went all the way from the river of Egypt way down here to the Euphrates way up north. However, once the tribes actually settle in, they seem to dwell in very, shall we say, a pinched area because they are not going to occupy the entire land. The tribe of Judah is in the south. The tribe of Joseph gets the land right ahead of him. Now Joseph is divided between his two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. Remember, on the other side of Jordan, Reuben, Gad, and the other half of Manasseh settled. And so half of Manasseh, all of Ephraim and Judah gets this very central, beautiful land in the middle of Canaan. This is going to be a matter of animosity in time, and be watching for that through the book of Judges and on, where the tribe of Benjamin is given a sliver of land right in between them, almost like a buffer zone. Simeon is given land in the south side of Judah. Then the other 7 tribes are given land by lot. 5 tribes head north. They basically occupy this area here. Again, they're pinched in based upon the Philistines are going to be occupying the land out by the coast. The Canaanites of other varieties will be up in here. And in other words, when you look at the map of what Israel actually possesses, it's surprisingly, shockingly, less than God had promised them. As we then come into the final chapters of Joshua, he challenges them in 24:19, and when he says, "You cannot serve Yahweh," I take it to mean, guys, the way we've been going, I want to warn you that we can't keep going that way. And apparently the Israelites, as they have come through and defeated these towns and have started to occupy these towns, have simply not ridded themselves completely of idolatry. They're starting to syncretize their thoughts about Yahweh and Baal. And we have evidence of this archaeologically, that they wanted to serve as many gods as possible still. So that's where that famous line in Joshua 24, verses 14 and 15 come in. 14 has this line, "Serve Yahweh in," and here are 2 words we've heard, serve him in tamim, wholeheartedness, don't be divided, and emet, and usually translated truth, or I would take it to be a promise-keeping sort of way. We have promised Yahweh that we will serve him. So do it in those two ways, with emet and in tamim. Then in 24:15 he says, if it seems evil for you to serve Yahweh, you're going to have to choose this day whom you will serve. As for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh. It's like a John 3:16 again of the Old Testament. Be ready now for Judges, and how this land will be challenged by the Canaanites and the Philistines, for example, whom they have not driven out.